Leave my wedding, you witch! Get out! Get out of here now!
What if, on your wedding day, you humiliated a poor girl, only to find out she's your billionaire husband's lost daughter? This bride did, and it cost her everything. Abuja buzzed with excitement. The luxurious Royal Orchid Hotel was lit up like a palace, its golden chandeliers casting a warm glow over the perfectly arranged hall. Guests whispered about the bride, Naomi, the elegant daughter of a wealthy politician. Every detail screamed wealth, from her diamond-encrusted tiara to the imported lilies flown in from France. This was no ordinary wedding. It was the event everyone wanted to attend. Standing near the grand entrance was Imelda, a fragile-looking girl of about 21, wearing a faded floral gown and dusty slippers. She clutched a torn handbag to her chest and kept glancing around nervously. Nobody paid her much attention. To them, she was just another uninvited intruder. But Amara wasn't there to admire the decorations. She had a reason for being at this wedding. As the guests were ushered to their seats, Naomi's sharp eyes caught Imelda standing awkwardly at the back. "Who is that?" she whispered to her bridesmaid, irritation lacing her tone. The bridesmaid shrugged, but Naomi frowned. "She doesn't belong here. Look at her. She's dressed like she just came from the market." Her husband-to-be, Chief Kola Adeyemi, a wealthy billionaire in his late 40s, was busy greeting guests and didn't notice the commotion. Naomi, however, was already walking towards Imelda, her heels clicking against the marble floor. The music lowered slightly, and some guests turned their heads to see what was happening. "What are you doing here?" Naomi's voice was loud enough for nearby guests to hear. Imelda opened her mouth to speak, but the bride didn't give her a chance. "Is this your level of shamelessness? Crashing a wedding you can't even afford soap to dress for?" Laughter rippled among some of the onlookers. I'm looking for—" Imelda began, her voice trembling. "Looking for food? Or looking for trouble?" Naomi interrupted, rolling her eyes. "Security. Get this girl out before she embarrasses herself further." Two bulky guards approached, and Naomi's hands shook as they grabbed her arms. Chief Kola turned when he heard the raised voices. His eyes fell on Imelda, and something strange stirred inside him. Her face, her eyes, something was hauntingly familiar. "Wait," he said, raising his hand to stop the guards. Everyone froze. "What's your name, young lady?" Imelda hesitated. "Imelda." Chief Kola's eyes narrowed. "Where are you from?" Before she could answer, Naomi stepped in, forcing a smile. "Darling, please, she's nobody. Let's not spoil our day." Kola gave her a look but said nothing more. Still, he couldn't shake off the feeling that he had seen this girl somewhere before. Naomi ordered the guards to escort Imelda outside. The poor girl's eyes glistened with tears as she was pushed into the street. She sat on the pavement, her stomach growling, watching luxury cars pull up and guests walk in wearing glittering gowns and tuxedos. Inside the hall, the music resumed, and the wedding ceremony went on as if nothing had happened. But Chief Kola kept glancing at the entrance, distracted by the image of the girl. He didn't know why her presence had unsettled him so much, but the feeling wouldn't go away. That night, Imelda walked along the streets of Abuja with no place to go. She thought about the humiliation she had suffered. Her late mother's words echoed in her mind. "One day you will meet your father. He is rich, but he doesn't know you exist." She had never believed it fully, but today, something about the groom's face had struck her. Could Chief Kola be the man her mother always spoke about? And if so, why was he marrying someone else without ever finding her? Years ago, before he became a billionaire, Chief Kola had a whirlwind romance with a young woman named Ngozi Chukwu. They had planned to marry, but circumstances tore them apart, and Kola lost contact with her. Unknown to him, Ngozi had been pregnant when she left. That night after the wedding, Kola found himself unable to sleep. He remembered Ngozi's eyes, warm, deep brown eyes, and realized they were the same eyes he had seen in the girl at his wedding. He shook his head. It can't be. Can it? The morning after, Naomi noticed her new husband was unusually quiet over breakfast. "Is something wrong?" she asked, feigning concern. "It's nothing," he replied, sipping his coffee. "Is this about that street rat from yesterday?" she pressed. "Please, forget her. People like that are everywhere in Abuja." Kola gave her a tight smile but didn't respond. Deep inside, his curiosity had grown into an ache. He needed to find that girl. 3 days later, Kola drove through was market to inspect a new property. While passing a roadside stall, he spotted a familiar figure, Naomi, selling second-hand clothes. He parked his car and stepped out. Imelda froze when she saw him. "Sir." Kola walked closer. "I want to talk to you. Alone." The market women stared as the billionaire led the ragged girl towards his car. In the car, Kola asked, "Where's your mother?" "She's dead," Imelda whispered. "What was her name?" "Ngozi. Ngozi Chukwu." Kola's heart pounded. He stared at her in disbelief. "Ngozi? Are you saying?" His voice trailed off. Imelda nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks. "When I was 8, she told me my father's name was Kola Adeyemi, and that one day I would find you. Shortly after, she passed away. Since then, I've tried to look for you using the photo she gave me, searching everywhere, but I never found you. Still, I refused to give up. Then, I saw your wedding pictures on TV along with the venue, and that very morning, I decided to trace the location." Chief Kola's hands trembled slightly. "Come with me," he said softly. Imelda hesitated but got into his SUV. He drove her to a private hospital in Maitama and arranged for a discreet DNA test. "You don't have to be afraid," he assured her. "If what you're saying is true, I want to know." Imelda looked down at her worn dress and whispered, "I've dreamed of meeting you, but not like this." Kola's chest tightened. Something deep inside him told him the truth would change everything. Meanwhile, at their new home in Asakoro, Naomi noticed her husband's sudden absences. "Where do you keep going?" she asked one evening. "Business meetings," he replied without looking at her. Naomi didn't believe him. She called one of her friends, Amaka, who had a knack for digging into people's business. "Find out what Kola is hiding," Naomi instructed, her voice cold. She wasn't about to let some unknown girl ruin her perfect marriage. A week later, the doctor called Kola into his office. "Mr. Adeyemi, the results are conclusive. Imelda is your biological daughter." Kola exhaled sharply, his emotions a mixture of joy and guilt. "Thank you, doctor." He turned to Imelda. "You're my daughter. I can't believe I've missed 21 years of your life." Imelda's lips trembled. "Does this mean I can finally call you Dad?" Kola pulled her into a hug. "Yes, my daughter." That night, Kola decided to tell Naomi. "There's something you need to know," he began, sitting across from her in the living room. Naomi smiled sweetly. "Is it about the stray girl you were talking to in the market?" Kola's jaw tightened. "She's not a stray. She's my daughter." Naomi froze, the smile slipping from her face. "You're what?" "My daughter, from before I met you," he said firmly. Naomi's fingers curled into fists. "Girl is your daughter?" Naomi's voice rose. "Do you know how humiliating that is for me?" Kola's eyes hardened. "This isn't about you, Naomi. This is about making up for the years I lost with her." Naomi stood abruptly. "Over my dead body will she live under the same roof as me?" Kola's tone was icy. That wasn't a request. Kola arranged for Imelda to move into a guest room in his mansion. The staff were instructed to treat her with respect. Imelda stood in awe at the marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and the massive swimming pool. "This is too much," she whispered. "You deserve it," Kola replied. "From now on, you're part of my family." But from upstairs, Naomi stood watching with cold, narrowed eyes. Late that night, Naomi called Amaka again. "I want you to find dirt on that girl. Anything that will make my husband regret bringing her here." Amaka smirked over the phone. "Leave it to me. Everyone has a skeleton in their closet." Naomi ended the call and poured herself a glass of wine. "Let's see how long you last in my house, little beggar," she muttered. Imelda struggled to fit into her new life. She didn't know which fork to use at dinner, how to speak to the high-class guests, or how to dress in the expensive clothes Cola bought her. One evening, during a family dinner, she accidentally knocked over a glass of red wine onto an expensive Persian rug. Naomi gasped dramatically. "Oh dear. Some people just can't handle refinement." Imelda's cheeks burned, and Cola shot his wife a warning glare. Later that night, Cola went to Imelda's room. "Don't let her words get to you," he said gently. "You belong here just as much as she does." Imelda looked up at him with teary eyes. "I'm trying, Dad. I really am." Cola smiled softly. "You're doing fine. Give it time. And remember, you have me now." One morning, headlines splashed across Abuja newspapers. Billionaire's secret daughter discovered living in poverty. Photographs of Imelda selling in the market were plastered on the front page. Cola was furious. "Naomi, did you have anything to do with this?" Naomi feigned shock. "Of course not. But you have to admit, it's bad for your reputation." Cola didn't believe her for a second. Despite the gossip, Cola decided to introduce Imelda to society at a charity gala. She wore a stunning emerald gown he had picked out for her. Guests murmured as they entered. "Is that the street girl from the papers?" Imelda held her head high, trying to ignore the whispers. But across the room, Naomi watched, her mind already planning the next move. At the gala, a middle-aged man approached Imelda. "You look just like your mother," he said softly. Imelda's heart skipped. "You knew her?" "Yes. And I know something about how she died," he whispered before slipping her a card and disappearing into the crowd. The next day, Imelda met the man at a small cafe. His name was Mr. Patrick, and he revealed shocking news. Her mother hadn't died of illness as she had believed. "She was poisoned," Patrick said gravely. Imelda's eyes widened. "Poisoned? By who?" Patrick hesitated. "I think it was someone who didn't want you to ever meet your father." Imelda returned home shaken. She wanted to tell her father but feared it would reopen old wounds. That night, she overheard Naomi on the phone. "Yes, I made sure she never found him. Ngozi's death was necessary," Naomi whispered. Imelda's blood ran cold. "Naomi killed my mother." The next morning, Imelda stormed into the living room. "You killed my mother," she shouted at Naomi. Naomi laughed coldly. "Careful, little girl. Accusations like that can get you into trouble." Cola rushed in. "What's going on here?" Imelda's voice shook. "She admitted it. She poisoned my mother." Naomi's eyes sparkled with amusement. "And you have proof?" Naomi knew Cola might believe Imelda if she played the victim card. She staged a scene, tearing her dress and smashing a vase in the living room. The vase cut her leg, giving her a deep wound. When Cola walked in, she ran to him crying, "Imelda attacked me. She said she'll ruin our marriage." Cola turned to his daughter in shock. "Is this true?" "No. She's lying," Imelda cried. But Cola's eyes showed doubt for the first time. He didn't believe Imelda. Feeling betrayed, Imelda packed her things to leave. "If you believe her over me, then I don't belong here," she told her father. Cola hesitated, torn between his wife and his newfound daughter. As Imelda walked out of the mansion, Naomi watched from the balcony with a victorious smile. "One down," she whispered to herself. Imelda found refuge with Mr. Patrick, the man who had told her about her mother's death. He offered her a spare room in his modest home in Garki. "You're not safe with that woman around," he warned. "She's more dangerous than you think." Imelda clenched her fists. "Then I'll find proof of what she did, and make her pay." Patrick revealed that Ngozi had once kept a diary, which might hold details about her relationship with Cola and threats she had faced. "It's hidden somewhere in the old family house in Enugu," Patrick said. Imelda decided to travel there, but she knew Naomi might try to stop her if she found out. Amaka spotted Imelda boarding a bus to Enugu and immediately called Naomi. "She's going somewhere. Should I follow her?" "No," Naomi replied with a smirk. "I'll make sure she never comes back from that trip." On the road to Enugu, Imelda's bus was stopped by armed men. They forced her and other passengers into the bush. "This one," the leader said, pointing at Imelda. "She's the one we were told to get rid of." Imelda's heart pounded. This was no random attack. Naomi contacted her insider at the park to get details about the bus Imelda was traveling in. Once she had the information, she sent a group of gang members to intercept and kidnap her on the way, with orders to eliminate her. Under the cover of night, Imelda managed to slip away while the kidnappers slept. She ran barefoot through the forest until she reached a village where locals helped her get to safety. Bruised and exhausted, she still refused to give up her mission. "I have to get that diary," she told herself. In Enugu, Imelda found the abandoned house her mother had once lived in. After hours of searching, she discovered the diary hidden inside a hollow wooden frame. She opened it and gasped. Inside were details of Naomi's threats, including mentions of a mysterious accident planned for Ngozi. Her hands trembled. "This is it. The proof I need." After Naomi met billionaire Kola, she heard rumors that he had a child from a whirlwind relationship he knew nothing about, and that the child's mother had been searching for him for years without success. Naomi was devastated. After all her efforts to win Kola, now this? At first, she started sending threats to Ngozi through letters. She introduced herself as Naomi, Kola's wife, and that Ngozi should desist from searching for him. Ngozi noted it all in her diary, but she never knew who Naomi was. Ngozi was also scared to report to the police, determined to end all. Naomi traveled to Enugu with the help of her informant. They trailed Ngozi to her house, and one night, along with some hired gang members, she kidnapped Ngozi on her way back from the market and poisoned her. A man later found Ngozi by the roadside and rushed her to the hospital. At that time, Imelda was just 8 years old. On her deathbed, Ngozi gave Imelda a photograph of her father and told her that one day, she would find him. After Ngozi passed away, Imelda was taken in by a motherless home, which later moved her to an orphanage home in Abuja. She remained there until she turned 18. She then decided it was time to go out and fend for herself. She took on menial jobs and survived under harsh conditions by helping people to sell second-hand materials by the roadside. Back in Abuja, Imelda hid the diary at Patrick's house and called her father. "Dad, I need to see you. I have proof about Mom's death," she said urgently. Kola agreed to meet her the next day, but someone else was listening in on their conversation. Amaka. That night, Naomi sent Amaka to break into Patrick's home. Amaka found the diary and delivered it to Naomi. Flipping through the pages, Naomi smirked. "Too bad this will never see the light of day." When Imelda arrived after meeting Kola, she realized the diary was gone. Patrick swore he hadn't touched it. Imelda knew instantly. "It's Naomi. She took it." Kola frowned. "Why would she?" "Because she killed Mom," Imelda snapped. "And now she's covering her tracks." Naomi went further. She planted drugs in Imelda's bag with the help of Amaka and tipped off the police. Imelda was arrested that evening in front of her father. "I don't know how this got in my bag," Imelda pleaded as officers led her away. Kola stood frozen, his mind spinning. That night, Kola replayed everything in his head: Naomi's dramatic performances, Imelda's pain, the strange coincidences. "Could I have been wrong about my wife?" he muttered. His heart told him yes. He decided to keep a close watch on Naomi. Kola visited Imelda in police custody. "I'm going to get you out," he promised. Imelda's voice cracked. "Dad, she's going to destroy us both if you don't stop her." Kola nodded grimly. "Then I'll stop her." Kola hired a private investigator to follow Naomi. Within days, the private investigator captured a video of her meeting with the kidnappers who had ambushed Imelda. The evidence was damning. Patrick revealed he had secretly made a photocopy of Ngozi's diary before giving it to Imelda the night before. "You thought all hope was lost, but I kept a backup," he said with a smile. Imelda's eyes filled with tears. "You just saved me." Patrick happened to be Ngozi's close neighbor back at Ngu, who decided to find Imelda and help her at all cost. By telling her the truth behind her mother's death, Kola took the evidence to the police, and Naomi was arrested. The case became a media sensation. billionaire's wife accused of murder and kidnapping. In court, Imelda sat in between her father and Patrick. Naomi hired the best lawyers money could buy. She denied every accusation, claiming Imelda was lying to gain access to Cola's wealth. She's nothing but a con artist, Naomi told reporters outside the court, but the video evidence was impossible to ignore. The prosecution brought in an unexpected witness, one of the kidnappers, who testified that Aisha had paid them to kill Amara. Gasps filled the courtroom. After weeks of trial, the judge declared Naomi guilty of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and attempted framing. She was sentenced to death by hanging. Imelda closed her eyes, feeling the weight of justice. Outside the courthouse, Cola hugged Imelda. "I'm sorry I ever doubted you. I didn't know the person I married," he said. Imelda smiled weakly. "We lost a lot of time, but maybe we can make new memories." Cola nodded. "We will." Cola officially announced Imelda as his daughter at a press conference. "This is my blood, my family, my pride," he declared. The media frenzy shifted from scandal to admiration. Cola added Imelda's name to his will and began grooming her to take over part of his business empire. From the girl in torn slippers at a wedding, she had become a recognized heiress. Imelda used part of her inheritance to open the Ngozi Chukwu Foundation, aimed at helping young girls get an education and escape poverty. "This is for you, Mom," she whispered during the opening ceremony. 1 year later, Imelda attended another wedding at the Royal Orchid Hotel, this time as a VIP guest. When she saw a young girl in ragged clothes standing nervously by the door, she walked over and smiled warmly. "Come in, dear. You're welcome here." It was a quiet, powerful moment, proof that she had risen above the humiliation and turned her pain into grace. Moral lesson: no matter how deeply the truth is buried, it will always rise to the surface, and those who plot evil against the innocent will eventually fall. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like and share, and tell us where you're watching from in the comments.